I don't know how much more of this I could take, you guys. I don't know how much more of the deep and brazen hypocrisy I can take here. So we've all seen it over the past year or so, this moral panic around groomers. So the far right has been fervent and persistent in pointing out, hey, we think the LGBTQ community are grooming people. We think teachers are grooming people. We think gender ideology is trying to convince our young boys to chop off their dick and balls before they hit puberty. This is the argument that they've been going with, and they've been just, no pun intended here, balls to the wall in pushing this narrative. Okay, well, we discussed the other day something very concerning, to say the least. New report came out. There were 1,900 examples of Catholic Church sex abuse, and this was just, I believe, in the state of Illinois. The Catholic Church has paid out literally billions of dollars over child sex abuse allegations. It basically was a pedophilia factory, if we're being honest. And what would happen is the church would shuffle people from one place, shuffle the priests from one parish to another parish, one church to another church, just to hide them, but still allow them to have positions of power and authority and sway over young kids. It's horrendous. If it was any other institution, the institution would have been shut down with the full force of government. But since it's religion, they hide behind, the First Amendment, freedom of religion, and it's like, well, you can't do anything here. Maybe you can arrest the individual criminals, but it was a systemic problem. Astonishing. Well, funny enough, the right didn't make a peep about any of that. There was no peep about, hey, now we're anti-Catholic Church, right? In the same way they're against the LGBTQ community, etc. None of that happened. Well, now we get another story which further solidifies this narrative that they only care about the protect the children stuff when it's to go after the targets they want to go after, namely gay people, trans people, teachers, etc. Because look at this. Charlie Kirk's TPUSA teamed up with a registered sex offender. Kirk decried the sexualization of kids at his pastor's summit. The founder of one of its sponsors was convicted of attempted coercion and enticement of a minor. Turning Point USA CEO Charlie Kirk is cheerleading the far-right boycott of Target over the retailer's Pride collection, which included trans-friendly youth apparel and other LGBTQ-positive gear, for what Kirk decries as their support for grooming kids. Kirk's condemnation of the retailer coincided with TPUSA's second annual Pastor Summit in Nashville, Tennessee, this past week, where Kirk also denounced Target, telling a crowd of hundreds of religious leaders, if you love God, you must hate evil. Yet in delivering these fevered messages about morality and child welfare, Kirk had an odd benefactor, a man whose criminal history opens up TPUSA to charges of hypocrisy. Rolling Stone has learned that one of the TPUSA Summit's corporate sponsors is a Christian fashion company that is led by a registered sex offender, Sean Bergstrand, who served time in federal prison for attempted coercion and enticement after trying to persuade a minor female to engage in sexual activity. In a statement to Rolling Stone, TPUSA spokesman Andrew Colvett said that TPUSA's faith was not aware of this incident, but emphasized that as an exhibit sponsor, Bergstrand was not a speaker, organizer, or professing doctrine from the stage. One of the core tenets of the Christian faith is forgiveness rooted in repentance. After discussing the issue with him, we believe it was critical to bring him into the faith. Oh my God. He doesn't hide from what happened. He instead posts his testimony online on his company website. TPUSA faith will not toss away a repentant, decent person because of a mistake that happened over a decade ago, or because a left-wing outlet wants to write a hit piece on the amazing work our team is doing. Colvin included a reference to Colossians 3:13, a Bible verse that reads in part, "Forgive as the Lord forgave you." So if you're gay, if you're trans, if you're a teacher who dare bring up the fact that gayness or transness exists, you're a groomer, you're a pedophile, we're going to smear you, we're going to drag your name through the mud. But if you're somebody who went to prison for those sorts of crimes, well, the guy said, sorry, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Guys, make no mistake about it. This is all about who's on what team. This guy's a conservative. This guy funds TPUSA. So he gets to do whatever the hell he wants to do. If he was unrepentant, they'd still be defending his ass. This goes to show you how hollow and vapid their fake crusade to protect the kids is. And by the way, When it comes to stuff like trans rights, remember, it's not just about the kids. Because there are states that are banning any sort of treatment up to age 26. They're not kids. They're not kids. They just don't want these people to exist. They think it's degeneracy. But what's not degeneracy? All sorts of pedo-related crimes, as long as you're funding right-wing groups. As long as you're funding TPUSA. This reminds me of how they always go after George Soros and big money donors on the Democratic side, as they are swimming in pools of cash given to them by the Koch brothers, and previously Foster Freeze, who has since passed away, and all the other big right-wing donors. There is not a principled bone in any of their bodies. And this isn't about protecting the kids. This is about being anti-LGBTQ. It's never been more obvious. If they did care, they'd fire this guy immediately and apologize profusely and say, we had no idea, and so we have to act on this because we're not going to be hypocrites. They didn't do that. If they did care, a primary talking point they would come back to is, hey man, maybe don't leave your kids with Catholic priests. Maybe don't go to Catholic churches if there's a history of this sort of stuff going on there. I'm not saying they have to be anti-Catholic, period, no. But you'd think there'd be a little bit of walking on eggshells if they actually cared about the kids, right? A little bit of a, hey, by the way, there's a history here. Nope. Because again, it's not about that. It's not about that. They're against the people they're against. They're for the people they're for. Facts be damned. So just remember this. These organizations are total scam, fraud organizations, and they've never made it more clear. All right, guys. That's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much. Thank you, as always, for listening. I hope you guys like this new little studio we got going on here. I think it looks pretty sexy. You know, we got Phoebe here. We got Salem here, always over my shoulder, my two little babies. We got a nice little globe here. We got that American flag. We got the plaques. We got the nice blue light. I'm feeling it, man. I'm digging it. But let's try to add one more plaque to this wall. Let's try to get that 10 million plaque to this wall. It'll take a while, I know. It'll take a very, very long time. I'm aware. But hook a brother up with a like. Hook a brother up with a subscribe. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. That helps work around the algorithm, which is not all that kind to many political channels, including this one right here. And that's all I got for you guys. If you want to listen to the show on Spotify, the audio version of the podcast, it's always available over there. You can listen to it all in one shot as opposed to going video for video on YouTube. And much love to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. You guys make it work. Much love to everybody who supports Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. You guys make it work. Can't say enough kind stuff about you guys. You know, you saved this show during Adpocalypse, and I've never forgotten that. And so if you guys can donate $2 a month or whatever, if you can afford it, deeply appreciate that, because I've never had a conversation with an advertiser, never will. Very proud of that fact. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.